It can be very difficult to step into our purpose, into our power, and shine our light in the world if we think that we don't matter or we think it's too late. In this video, I'm going to be talking about a lot of the aging and disempowerment programming in our society, some of the places that it comes from, and then I'm going to be doing some affirmations at the end to release some of these beliefs so that we can realize the truth. We all can make a difference now. This is Adam, the Edgy Saint, your spiritual and human transformation coach. Welcome back. When I was a kid, I used to hear this, I think it was a Whitney Houston song called The Children of the Future. And it was a really nice song. It was a pretty song. And it always really bothered me. I was a kid at the time and I never knew why. It just intuitively rubbed me the wrong way. And when I grew up, I figured it out. The reason it bothered me was because there were not just her, but there was all this discussion about the kids in the future, and how the kids were going to change the world in the future. But I didn't see a lot of people respecting the adults. And I had the awareness that, well, if people don't really care too much about the adults, then when I'm an adult in the future, no one's going to care about me then, so what difference does it make? You see this a lot in film, too, and in war. It's like, oh, the children are innocent. Don't kill the children. Spare the children. But go ahead and kill that 37-year-old woman, because fuck her? Because what? She grew up? She made her choices? You don't even know what choices she made. It never made any sense to me. It's just like, fuck that adult. But we're going to spare the kids, so when they get older, we could just kill them as adults. Does anyone else get bothered by this? Has anyone else seen this? Because what it does is it has us constantly abdicating responsibility to the future and to another group. And I hear it a lot in the self-development and spiritual, circles. They're like, oh, this next generation, they're going to be the ones to save us. These kids, they're better, they're smart, they're going to do it. And it's like, no, they're not. If we don't matter now, if everyone doesn't matter now, if us, the children of the future from the past, don't matter now, the children now in the future aren't going to matter then. And if we don't matter now, and we don't take responsibility for what we can do now, what are they going to do or have or be? We are all responsible for making a difference now in whatever way that best serves us, which generally has to do with doing our own inner work and healing, because it's not really our responsibility to change the world in essence. It's our responsibility to change ourselves and step into our purpose and step into our power and be the best version of us. And that is actually how the world and consciousness shifts. It's a very important point. And look at what it does. I just want, feel into what that does. If you're having trouble stepping into your power, if you're having trouble, shining your light or thinking that your voice doesn't matter, it's important to see where these things come from, because some of them come from childhood, but a lot of them come from the collective consensus consciousness programming. But this is one of them, kind of the aging stigma, right? It's very weird in our world how when you get to your mid to late 20s, you're already getting old. I was always a really old soul, so I was always very cognizant of how fast time passes, even as a little kid. So I knew even when I was very young, it wasn't gonna take long. And if you're young, it's gonna be over really quick. And if you get old that fast, you're already being disempowered then, because some part of you knows the youth that we consider youth, which is 2 years long, isn't going to be there for very much. So you're already being set up to have your power drained. And I understand that on Earth, it's lives are kind of stupidly short and the aging process is kind of dumb. But we can shift a lot of that by changing how we see it. And with all due respect to people in their mid to late 20s, I mean, there's a lot of super cool people, but honestly, I was there. You don't know fucking shit. You don't. So you don't know anything, and then you're old. And what does that do? Like, feel into your body what that does. It just makes you feel deflated, like, oh, I don't matter. The children are going to do it later, but it's a trick because they're not going to matter later. So what difference does my voice make? What difference does what I have to say make? Why bother shining my light? And I would suggest on some level, this is somewhat on purpose. We all make a difference in the moment. Life is always about the next move. It's about being in the moment. Past, present, and future are all in the now and your next move. If you're 39, if you're 54, if you're 61, and you regret your past because the things you wanted didn't happen yet, pretend they did. Pretend you were a super famous movie star or business person. In this moment, that would still all be past. And maybe you would have been really big and famous and it would have collapsed. And you might be in an even worse space because you'd be disappointed. Either way, it's still about the next thing. There are some people that had very short careers in the public light who made enormous differences. A lot of rock stars were like Kurt Cobain, a few years, Jimi Hendrix, a few years, Jim Morrison, a few years. That's it. That's all it takes. And it doesn't even matter if you're famous. Like, we don't even understand the ripples that we send out into the universe just based on small conversations with people in our own groups, people we know, how that links to somebody else and somebody else and somebody else. Everyone has their part to play. And it is impossible to know what anyone is doing, especially multidimensionally. Some people sit in the silence in a cave meditating and they're holding the whole fucking fabric of the reality together. And if they stop doing that, everything might collapse. It's not the people that are out in the spotlight all the time that are making the biggest difference, though sometimes they do. So where is your aging programming? Where are you abdicating responsibility to the next generation? How are you telling yourself it's too late? Because in our world, it's too late when you're 29. Challenge that. Fuck that. Fuck that fucking bullshit. Make wisdom and experience something to look up to, because that is what matters. But you start by giving it to yourself. You start by seeing your own validity, the validity in your experience, the validity in your trials and tribulations, what you've been through, what you've overcome, and how do you harvest that in the now? You could be 94 and dictate a book to someone in 2 months that could have such an enormous ripple effect. It's inconceivable. But if you're stuck in the kids are going to do it. Well, tomorrow the kids are going to grow up and they're going to change the world. It's this next generation. And then what are you doing? You're imprinting that on the kids. So then the kids are going to grow up and just take that imprint and be like, well, it's the next generation and the next generation. It's the now. I just want you to notice into your body for a minute. Where do you feel that, like, I don't matter? I don't matter. It's too late. And you can say that. It's too late. I'm too old. I don't matter. And feel it. Like, feel where that is. You're just calling that up into the light. Notice it in your body. Notice the feeling of that. Like, does it get tense and tight? Do you feel deflated? I don't matter. I don't make a difference. What am I going to do? I'm too old. My time is come and gone. Even though I'm 27, because I was told that by the media, by movies. What would it feel like to matter now? Notice that in your body a little bit and give permission for these old programs to just release. Ask your higher self, your guidance, your spirit guides to clear the aging programming. The it's too late programming. I don't matter programming. Give it permission to release. Make a conscious choice to say, you know what? I do matter. I do make a difference. And I make a difference now. We all do. The kids can make a difference tomorrow, but they make a difference now by being who they are now. And so do you, and so does everybody else. And just notice what it feels like to let this stuff go. Give your higher self permission to clear all aging programming. It's too late. I can't do it. It's over. I don't matter. What I have to say doesn't matter. Someone else is going to do it. No one else is going to do you. Well, someone else might do you, but you know what I'm saying. Only we can do us in a more spiritual sort of way. And just meditate on this a little bit and check in with yourself. Where are you holding yourself back because you were told it's too late? Good. Okay. Let me know what you think of this in the comment section. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm doing free breakthrough calls. These are like 20 to 30 minute calls for anyone who wants a little guidance on what's blocking them in their life. We'll do a little mapping out of like what your vision is, where you want to go, what's in the way, and I will help do a little bit of a detailed like plan. For anyone who's interested, you can click the link. I have a Calendly link. Feel free to reach out. Please like and subscribe to the channel. And thank you so very much. I look forward to next time.